Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I'm Eric Smith, and today I'm talking about Wolfland by Jonathan Janz. This is from Sam Hain Publishing with a release date of November 3rd, 2015. And in Wolfland by Jonathan Janz, we're in the small town of Lakeview where they're preparing for a 10-year high school reunion. All our main characters graduated 10 years ago. So shortly before the official reunion, there's going to be this big bonfire party, and all our characters are going. You've got Dwayne and Savannah and Glenn and Weezer and Melody and Joyce and Mike. Mike, the hometown hero for a short time. He was recruited by the major leagues. But he sort of returns to town as a pariah after his baseball career crashed and burned. Some other things happened. But they're all getting together again for the reunion and for this big bonfire party. I think Mike is really the only one that left town, at least the only one of the characters we care about. Everybody else has spent their life in Lakeview. So it's not much different for most people seeing each other. They're, a lot of them are still friends, hang out. There's a little tension when Mike shows up, but things really get weird when a mysterious stranger makes an appearance. And then they get really weird when he turns into a giant wolf on two legs and attacks everybody and slaughters a bunch of people and wounds four of our characters. And those characters start to change because this is a werewolf novel. And throw in a dire warning that the three are going to come and call the pack. And you have Wolfland. At least a bare bones version of Wolfland there. So, right off the bat, I'm a big werewolf fan. I believe I've mentioned that before. I got my little pocket monster werewolf. I used to have all the pocket monsters, and this is the only one I have left. I had to keep him because it's just an awesome werewolf figure, and I loves me some werewolves. So I'm always excited to find a good werewolf novel, and Wolfland by Jonathan Janz is a great werewolf novel. Right off the bat, the writing is fantastic, as usual. The characters are really interesting, a lot of distinct personalities. Dwayne is, they call him Short Pump, and he's really an average kind of guy. He's overweight. He works at the high school. I think he's an IT guy, basically. He's got a crush on Savannah, has had a crush on her since high school. He's your everyman. Savannah, just a beautiful woman, a single mother. She dated Mike in high school, but when he was recruited to play Major League Baseball, he just left her behind unceremoniously. And she's sort of been drifting through life since then. But it's clear that she's a very gorgeous woman, and a lot of men are after her. But she just it doesn't reciprocate. Glenn is the ladies' man of the town, quite the stud. Weezer is friends with Dwayne and Glenn, but I just don't understand. I think it's a case of they've just been friends for so long, because Weezer is really a skeevy dude. Just, makes your skin crawl. He'll hit on any woman around, even underage girls. He's just scummy. And then you've got a bunch of other characters. and they're all just really well done. And the story itself, this is by far, at least as far as I can tell, I haven't read every single thing Jonathan Janz has written yet, but so far this is absolutely the darkest story I've read by him, and possibly the most violent. Lots of violence, lots of gore. But there's a darkness in this story. If you took out all the supernatural element, all the werewolf stuff, there's an element, a subplot to this story that is still horribly, horribly dark. Makes me angry just thinking about it. What one of the characters goes through. So I guess congratulations. I loved it. But be warned, this is really dark and really violent. Congratulations for going there, I guess. Congratulations to Jonathan Janz. Because he didn't shy away from some really, really deep, dark stuff. I know I need to find another word to use instead of dark. I've said it about half a dozen times now. But anyway, just great stuff there. Now, I'm sure you've all heard the saying that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I have never agreed with this saying. I don't think it's true. I think what power does is allows one to behave in a manner that they wish they could always have behaved in. That was probably not a very good sentence there, but I think you know what I'm saying. I don't think people are corrupted by power. I think people have personality traits they keep hidden. They have desires that they can't act on normally, but once they've gained power, it allows them to act on these urges or to emphasize these personality traits. Because once you have the power, who's going to tell you can't do these things? So I think if a truly good person gains power, they're going to remain a truly good person. But it's the average person or the bad person. The average person does have some things they keep hidden. Once they've gained power, those things no longer stay hidden, I think is the case. I don't think they're corrupted. I think it's something that was always there. The point of this is, I feel that this is something Jonathan Janz hits on in this book. And I'll tell you that the four people that are infected with werewolfism are Glenn, Weezer, Melody, and Joyce. And I think what happens is that, yes, they become bloodthirsty monsters, but they each react differently and behave differently when they're in wolf form. Because becoming a werewolf doesn't corrupt them. It allows certain aspects of their personality to come forward. And they each have a different trigger. This isn't a, oh, we got to wait for the full moon and then we're going to become a werewolf kind of thing. The transformation is triggered by certain things. It could be sorrow, rage, jealousy, lust, just an overwhelming sense of any one of these things could trigger the change. It's specific for each person. I'm not saying if, say, Weezer feels lust, he's going to change, and if he feels jealousy, he's going to change, and if he feels rage. No, it's one specific thing for each character. But they're all werewolves in a different way. Because, as I said, I don't think power corrupts. I think it simply allows certain things to come out. And I believe that that's something that we see in this book. So we have this attack at the bonfire, and then the four characters, Glenn, Weezer, Melody, and Joyce, become infected, and they all react differently. Meanwhile, Dwayne and Savannah, they're affected by the attack, not infected, but affected, and when they realize what's happening, you know, they want to help their friends. They want to save themselves. Savannah, of course, her priority is saving her son. And they don't just have this to deal with, but the mysterious stranger is still around, and he's threatened Dwayne and Savannah. And, of course, the three are coming. So after the bonfire, we've got a week of people dealing with the aftermath, and not just the regular people, but of course the people that are infected. But then when the reunion hits, wow. Bloodbath doesn't even really cover it. It's just an amazingly violent scene. Just balls to the wall. Now, I did want to mention this book reminded me-ish of a couple of things. And again, not plot-wise or anything, just a feeling that I had. And the first was Salem's Lot. I just had this feeling as I was reading it after the initial attack at the bonfire. This sort of feeling of a darkness overcoming this small town, which really gave me the same feeling that I got when I read Salem's Lot. I think this is much more overt, and if I recall correctly, this is much more violent. But there were just points as our four victims are going through the changes, as their friends notice that something is going on. I just had this sort of Salem's Lot feeling. Take that for what you will. The other thing, and it's another Stephen King thing, and this is, I think, a much more out there or in your face. Of course, I was reminded of Carrie. Just again, there's no poor telekinetic girl, but you know, it's not prom, but it's a high school reunion, and it's a bloodbath. Not quite as literally as in Carrie, although that was more of a blood shower. But I just, again, was reminded of that, because you have this group of people, you know, it's basically, it's the group from Carrie 10 years later at their reunion, and the shit hits the fan. So, again, not the plot, not the character specifically, just a feeling that I got. So, take that for what you will, I suppose. You know, I don't think it's bad if you're reading something and you're reminded of Stephen King, in any way. But, so that's, I think I covered everything. I'm, you know, trying to avoid any major plot points here. I'm not going to tell you about the really horrifyingly dark non-supernatural element. It's just, it's worse than the werewolf stuff. And it's, wow, it's just, it's powerful. So, I guess that's Wolfland by Jonathan Janz, and I don't think it's going to surprise anyone that I give it 5 out of 5 Pocket Monster Werewolf Silhouettes. you can see how he matches up right there with the silhouette. So I figured I love my little pocket monster werewolf. So 5 out of 5 easily. This jumps to my top 10 books of the year, possibly top 5. I'd have to look over everything I read just to check. But definitely a very powerful, horrifying, violent, wonderful werewolf novel. Just filled with a great cast, a fascinating story. There's some real history to it. There are some twists and turns. There is one, I don't know if it's considered a twist, that I didn't think was all that twisty. But you'll have to read it to find out what it is. So, I think that's it. I will have links for the book in the description below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. Please like, share, and subscribe. And that's it for this episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I have been your host, Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.